Again, technology drives innovation, and innovation is essential if you want to gain market share. The next session is about cutting-edge technologies shaping the innovation ecosystem. And this session is going to be moderated by no one else but the Deputy Minister for Communication in the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Odote, who is also an MP, Member of Parliament.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm glad you mentioned that I'm an MP. I'm very proud of my constituency. That yesterday I was telling Joe to let you know that where we were in NCA and all that beautiful part of Ghana, it's my constituency. I'm the landlord there. But he failed to do that. He wanted you to see only what NCA are doing, but I was also your host by default. Joe, thank you very much. Let me welcome you all. I don't think I've had opportunity formally to welcome you all to Ghana, or our sisters and brothers from other African countries. I hope you've enjoyed your stay here so far. And then I hope that the very little that we've been able to showcase and what we've been able to do in Ghana here, yesterday, actually, you all appreciate and really comment what we're doing. But we have to make sure that we will strive for the top so that we'll be able to rely on our continental competencies and we leverage the experiences so that we are able to work in the spirit of African unity. In Ghana, our president has set up a mantra that we want to set up a Ghana beyond aid, which means I want to rely on ourselves. I want to take our destiny into our own hands, and I think that applies to the whole of Africa. So once again, you're welcome to Ghana, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the programs. The private sector, we've been talking about innovation. Why innovation? Innovation provides solutions. Technology provides opportunities, endless opportunities, and the opportunities are being, because of the fast pace of the development of technology, the opportunities are coming at an accelerated level. We're here to talk about how to develop policies, how to develop the framework, but the real people who want to take advantage or who exploit and leverage the opportunities that technology brings is the private sector. It is important that as such forum, we involve the private sector. So the kind of things, the way they've been able to leverage and take advantage of what we've been able to do contextually so that they tell us. It's also important that once they tell us, it will let us know a lot more what we are doing right, what we're not doing right, and that can, together as partners, both the public sector, the regional bodies, we can be able to provide and continue to provide the necessary direction and to some extent the necessary funding to be able to ensure that the innovation that we strive and what we provide, they take advantage of that to push for our development. In this session, we are going to invite two people for two presentations, and then we'll give the opportunity to some innovators who are here, some incubators who are here, some hubs, some coders, and some technology companies who are here in the Ghanaian ecosystem, who are providing cutting-edge technologies and solutions to share with us very briefly what they've been able to do so that we know that what we are doing, we are in the right direction, and what we need to do more to support them. At this juncture, I would like to invite Dr. Issa to join us on the dais. Dr. Issa will talk to us about big data. Big data. Doctor, you're welcome. I would also like to invite our evergreen, ever-present Dr. Queno. I'm sure most of you know him. I think yesterday I was with him at the Ghana Tech Summit on the other end of this building. He was talking about 1993. Was talking a lot about the typical techie jargons, how they were able to introduce internet to Ghana. He was telling us the kind of things they were doing. So, Doc and the two docs, you're welcome. We'll start with you, Dr. Issa, to give a presentation on big data. Yeah. Could you give me a round of applause?
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to speak about big data, leveraging new media for creating value. And the essence is I'll give a preamble and then big data and the new media concepts and some value creation, because the target is for SMEs in Africa so that we'll be able to innovate. But usually I like to start my presentations with a food for thought. So what I'm saying here, or what I picked up, is every day most of us contribute to an evolving public presentation of who we are that anyone can see and that we cannot erase. We might think that we are at home on our laptops, cell phones, and so on, communicating with just a few people on our friends list, but in essence, in reality, we are in a huge auditorium communicating with the rest, okay? So basically, big data, when we talk about big data, it involves a lot of data, more than what can be handled with ordinary processes or traditional databases, or even a single computer, and so on. And it is also fast, so we can get results as soon as possible. You could also, it comes with different kinds of information or data or records which are not inherent, lacking inherent structure or predictability, and also the rate of arrival we cannot determine. And transformation and analysis, even when processed. So usually when we talk about big data, there are a number of V's. As we speak, there are about, if you check literature, about 12 V's. But for this presentation, I'm just dwelling on about 5 of them, which are the most common: the volume, which are usually with regards to overall size of the data, veracity, how confident are you with the data that you have, or the data sources, is it correct, and so on. Velocity, the rate at which the data arrives or being processed, or the need to process them as soon as it comes in. Variety, the wide range of data sets, be it audio, images, video, and what sort of data that we have. Variability, inconsistency in the data types, the speed, and so on and so forth. So all these contribute to that. Now, in terms of new media which involves a number, and I'll define it in context in a short while, includes all sorts of data, digital contents, transactions, our clicks, our posts, our weblogs, our interactions, our visits, including even our visits to hospitals and so on, our prescriptions and surveillance cameras for those of us in our countries where we have, when you run the traffic light, or even monitoring people walking on pedestrian walkways and so on and so forth. So key questions that I'm asking: what's the nature of data structure or format of the data that we are dealing with? Is it irregular? Does it involve a variety of different formats with different interpretations and so on? How much data is involved that we are talking about? These days we talk about some of the terminologies. Is it petabyte or exabyte, or I'm sure we could create anything, but it shows huge volumes of data. And how fast is these data being generated, and how accurate are they? New media basically is a terminology which is, in relative terms, encompasses the use of computers. So it is said that it's native to computers. and it refers to all forms of digital media that are highly interactive and incorporate two-way communications of a sort, and indeed when there is the use of computing. Social media, which we are familiar with, is a form of new media that relies heavily on users' participation or interaction in creating value. And this is what my presentation is looking at. So it could be your podcast, video, blogs, chats, even reading ebooks. And some key metrics that I'm using in this particular study are interaction, engagement, influence, advocacy, impact, and so many more. Now, there are some meta-metrics that we use in measuring some of these things so that we'll be able to manage them properly. We should be able to measure, improve on our metrics, and even the measurement system. And mostly, these records are grouped in terms of the scope, the purpose, the parameters, the sources, and so on, and even the computations that we do it. So, there are some log analysis that we could do with the data for those of us technical monitoring traffic. We could have a better understanding of the normal behavior of our logs so that if something goes wrong, it's as simple as you knowing how your computer or your laptop works. So if something goes wrong, you'll be able to say that something is wrong, maybe a virus infection or something. And then also to send the near real-time alerts when abnormalities occur. And to be able to correlate real-time network and infrastructure performance metrics to be able to have a very good view of our systems and so on. In terms of value creation, the essence is to optimize customer experience, because once your customers are satisfied, then you could get resale or upsell and so on, and be able to analyze their behavior, increase their conversion rate. So when they go to your website, it's not that they just visit your websites and never come back, but rather be able to go a step further by clicking something, by submitting something, by interacting with your website in order to meet your performance expectations. And also to modernize, we use big data to modernize our operations in terms of automation, in terms of orchestration, and so on. We master the environment in which we are, some root cause analysis, and so on. So, for instance, if you bring it home to Ghana, if we collect these data, usually we talk about weather issues when I'm talking about the natural weather, raining and flooding issues. So if we collect these data, it comes as a number of data dynamics. And when we're able to process them appropriately, we'll be able to do some good prediction as to what to do to take care of these. It also can accelerate innovation, and that's the essence of this presentation. Increases agility and automation, focuses on business needs, and master code complexity, and drive the experience towards productivity. Big data, usually, like we said, basically customer data, transactional, the purchases that we make, social data, and so on. And then it's involved in terms of business. It looks at critical data. So if you are an SME, the particular research that I'm doing in respect of this, I'm using Microsoft Power Pivot for Excel 2013 instead of using Hadoop. So for those of you who are technical, you would need, as I started with my preamble, you need a special database system to be able to process the big data, because the traditional relational database is not able to handle that. But you could have a way, and this is the innovation we're talking about, using Excel. And then it drives the business decisions to be able to deliver your products on time and ultimately to be able to generate profit. So these are some of the computations that I talked about. You'll be able to compute interaction, which is basically a ratio of conversion over activity, engagement, which is just visits times comments times shares. So anytime you visit somebody's page or either Facebook or Twitter and so on, and you make comments, all these you will see in a short while, they have some positive or negative impact. So this is using my own interactions on Twitter. And what I monitored, this is an average for about 2 weeks. Okay, so first of all, this is Twitter data sets for about 6 minutes after the tweet. And some of the metrics on Twitter are impressions, which is basically the number of times people saw this particular tweet on the Twitter, and also total engagement, which are the number of times interacted with this particular tweet, and then detailed expands, replies and retweets, and so on. That one, likes, that one we are all familiar with. But some of these, they are all embedded within your system. You could check about so that you could. So now, interesting, if I make a tweet on social issues, within the 6 minutes, you have a number of people viewing, checking, not necessarily retweeting, but at least a number of people are checking up on you. And sometimes you are fortunate you'll be able to get following. Interestingly, when I tweet on technology, and usually I tweet on cybersecurity issues, and this is the interaction, 24 within 6 minutes, within the first 6 minutes. And I also tweet on political, being a good citizen of Ghana, so you have to be interested. So when I do that, so again, when you look at this simple statistics, you have a fair idea maybe what I should focus my energies on social issues rather than the technology. Okay? Within 6 minutes. So can you imagine if this is your company, an SME, you could have these type of engagements which would be able to, this is the whole essence of big data. Okay, so this is just some top-up kind of, this is a research that I conducted in Ghana here, and so this is the kind of profile in terms of percentages. Facebook tops WhatsApp, Twitter, and so on. So that's just for information purpose. So in trying to wrap up, there are some ways in which big data for SMEs can create value. And I've listed just a couple of them: transparency and high availability of data. So big data can unlock a very significant value by making information transparent and then also highly available. Because when you have it available, business decisions can quickly be made and important transactions leading up to. It's not moving. Okay, can you help me? I need to move on. It's moved now. Okay. High performance and accuracy. So firms or organizations use and collect data. Every organization collects and uses data. And these are very important. Your customers' information and so on. And how accurate and detailed are they? And how can you utilize that in promoting your business in terms of making products, inventions? You even get to know your sick days for your employees. When do people call in that they can't come in today or tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And all these using big data and social media can boost up your performance. Last but not the least, customer intimacy. Okay, so here big data allows for a narrower segmentation of customer preferences, which you will be able to use precisely to tailor-made or customize products and services for your customers. It can also improve your decision-making and ultimately your product development. So I guess that's it. These are some of the resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause to Prof. Doc, sorry. Clearly, big data, which is emanating as consequential, also said data from technology, provides the base for us to be able to customize, for us, to those of us when it comes to designing products, to make opportunities and create value, make value opportunities. And as Prof has said, it can also help us with customer intimacy. So you can make tailor-made the traditional and the sense of customer relationship management. Big data gives us opportunity. You analyze that, and inherent in that big data are clear opportunities so that you can do your strategic space analysis to know where to position and what to provide. Doc, thank you very much. I think let's get our evergreen Dr. Quaynor very quickly, with just about four minutes to tell us about blockchain. Doc, please give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to share a few words with you. As some of you may know, I'm a teacher at University of Cape Coast, but I'm also the chairman of Ghana.com, which is a technology company that fears no barriers. Perhaps, given the shortness of the time, the best thing is to give you an analogy that will relate to blockchain that you can always remember. Look, this thing is no magic. It's the normal files that you carry in the administration. You know, the blue file, the green file, those yellow files. It is the current implementation of that. Why am I saying that? Notice that you mark the edge of each entry with a different number, right? Which means each entry has a unique block number. Okay. You also ensure that you can only add things at the top. Is that correct? You don't go in and shuffle and so on. And then furthermore, meaning that we only add blocks. You don't go and remove blocks. You only add blocks in the modern blockchain terminology. Also, notice that there are some people specialized in adding things to the entry. We call them clerks, right? Today we call them miners. Okay? So all we are doing is implementing the same things that you've been practicing, but in the electronic form, and not only for one file, but for all the files in the world. So that's the analogy, and you should remember that. The history started around 3rd January 2009, when the very first block was mined for a particular implementation, which was the Bitcoin. Okay? So on 3rd January 2009, that's when it was done. Then the next one in major event was in 2014, when instead of simply putting transactions in the blockchain, somebody said you can also put programs, and that became Ethereum. So if you put programs on a blockchain, it means the programs live forever, and they become totally autonomous, and that changed the whole picture, and then it started a huge, flurry of movement in that area. Really, what is the blockchain? I'm glad you have the map there. Look at the map on the left, at least yes. That represents the internet in September 91. And the purple is supposed to be where there was full internet connectivity. Okay? And you can see it in everywhere else but Africa. In Africa, we had one small one, that was Tunisia. And South Africa came on around December 91. If you look at the first successful implementation of blockchain, be it for cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the map looks like what is on the right. To me, it looks very much the same. So nobody is going to tell me I should not make an effort to change the color from white to more purple in Africa. And so I'm going to do it, and at all costs. The same way, at all costs, I forced to bring the internet here. Okay. Blockchain gives you 3 fundamental thoughts. The first one is identity. It allows you to create pseudo-identities associated to you, which come in what we call key pairs. Okay? One key you keep in your pocket, and one becomes your address that you send to people. We call that one the public key, but then there's a private key. We're not using it for encryption in this blockchain area. We only use it for signing, therefore authentication. Okay? Meaning if you use your private key to confuse something, nothing can open it except your public key. So that's very good for authentication. And that gives you an identity. With identity, it means if I'm A, I can send something to B, because B is equally identified the same way A is identified. And that is what they use in transferring the coins. Okay? So if you want to transfer land, then you must also have these identities. You must sign the proof that you own the land. Okay? Otherwise, you cannot do this transfer. Bitcoin scheme will check a number of things. They will check whether the address you've given is yours, and they will check whether you have the private key for the address you've given, so whether you can sign it properly. So that's one. The last of the 3 things is the actual data storage, okay? And that's what they tend to call the distributed ledger technology. In computer science, for those of you know, it is just linked list, not even list. It's a link stack. You start from the top and you go down. So everything is linked going down. So from the top, you can always search to the beginning. And if it was a practical environment, I would actually show you the first maiden block. That was mine. Okay, so these are the main things. In other words, you have an identity, you have a peer-to-peer transactional capability, and then you also have a permanent record of all things. Permanent, almost immortal. And the permanence is achieved by being distributed in tens of thousands of machines all over the world. And anybody who is interested can go and get it. That is, if it is an open block. It enables something we call token programming. Imagine you are in a world of IoTs, several small devices, but they are working as a group. And what you want is to keep track of what they are doing. To keep track of what they are doing through the internet logs is too much. Because every device has its own logs. Every device has, you cannot do it. But if I change it to I pass a token, the token is in the same common ledger. It's in the same common blockchain, and it's permanent. So if I'm doing forensic, I can actually study the logs, this blockchain log, and we can determine how well it's doing. Why is blockchain beneficial? Resulting from these 3 things, okay, you notice that you've gained in identification, authentication, okay? You've also gained from the point of view of being transactional, and then you have the permanent storage, which are tamper evident. So if anybody tampers with it, you know. And it also helps you with integrity of data, giving you confidence that what you have makes sense. There are types of blockchain, though, and we need to be aware. There's one which does not require permission to join. We call them the open public blockchains, okay? And those are the kind of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the rest of them. But there are also private blockchains. I can even give you a blockchain for your own program. I can give you sources, okay? That if your own program, you want to put blockchain there, you can put it. But the most useful one is the public open one, permissionless one. So I don't have to ask anybody for permission, and I can do the same things that everybody is doing. Now, many wonder, why has this become so important? Because the internet lacked something, which was trust. And this allows us to add a trust layer, okay? Because you have these signatures and things, you can trust, okay? If you give me your address, I know if I send you money, it will come to you, it won't go to anybody else. Because you gave it to me, you must have the private key, and before you spend, you have to make the proof of all of that. Okay. Now, what kinds of applications I don't want to go into the technologies, but I can just mention that we use cryptography, we use networking, we use data structures, we use something they call consensus. How do 100 independent people agree on the same thing? And that is where they do the thing that consumes the power that they call proof of work. Meaning you have to prove that you actually did some work. Okay, so that's something you need to know. Now, the use cases are infinite. The same as use cases for databases are infinite, use cases for permanent database will be infinite also. So sometimes it doesn't make sense enumerating them, you will never finish. However, there are some things you can learn about the properties. Notice that you, for instance, have some particular things that are advantageous. Certificates. Something that you want to put there that cannot change, that you are sure is from somebody. Let's say a university putting certificates, insurance company putting insurance certificates. Those are good areas that benefit from that. We also can use them to track inventory. So if you have some critical resource that you are moving, it may be gold, it may be diamond. Some people are using it for tracking salmon, but it may be for some people tracking software, because if software passes the wrong place, it can pick a virus, you understand? So those are huge areas. Traceability, ability to trace, is what is luring many people to go towards the blockchain, as well as the integrity that it brings, and for that matter, the trust it engenders. It also helps you with small micropayments, which sometimes are very difficult through the normal financial system. Now, if you add all these things, what I see as the opportunity is that there is no killer application yet. That means plenty of opportunity for us. The moment the big guys come in, then you'll be pushed out. So while they haven't come yet, run, create your applications, be hands-on. Okay, don't just discuss it, be hands-on, try to build something. The applications are not that difficult. Okay? And in fact, if the thing is going to be permanently on the blockchain, you don't want it to be complex, because if you have a bug, you are dead. So you put the smallest thing on the blockchain itself, and then you develop web engineering around it. Okay? Anyway, I think I will conclude here by saying that the impact is huge, the opportunity is great. There will be some trust intermediaries that will be displaced. So all trust intermediaries should move quickly. Okay, they should begin to adopt, or else they may be sidelined, because what they are doing can be almost done in an automated way using smart contracts and so on. But I'm most excited about the new way of programming, which has to do with using tokens for inter-process communication, as opposed to using the locus of control and execution around the world. I send you a token, you like it, you do the work for me. Thank you very much.
I think he deserves another round of applause. I think we've been given a practical illustration of what blockchains are, bitcoins, and those of us who until today really didn't know what it was, I think we've had a lot of education. He's a real teacher. As I said, we must run. It's a hands-on thing. Time will not wait for us. Let's get it done before the big guys come. That is where at this point, that's where I'll introduce some of our people, innovators, and some of the hubs who are here in this room, who have begun to run, who have put their hands on, as it were, got their hands dirty, and have some little innovations and solutions for some of the problems. I'll give each of them 2 minutes, and it's really 2 minutes, so that we'll be able to make up time. Chairman spoke about, is it Trotro, but before the Trotro and the tractors come, can we invite the Ghana Telecom Chamber here for just a 2-minute discussion with us, contribution on this issue about private sector and innovation. Mr. Ken Ashigbe is a Chief Executive of Ghana Telecom Chamber. Ken.
Thank you very much. So talking about innovation, one of the things that we've done in Ghana basically is forming this telecom chamber that was inaugurated in 2011, and it brings together all the telecom players. So we have our members are MTN, Vodafone, and Airtel Tigo. as well as the tower company. So we have ATC, Helios, and Eaton Towers. And what we do basically is an advocacy organization for the industry. So our focus is basically on things that commonly affect the whole industry. We'll look at regulation, how regulation, policy impacts on the industry, and how we are able to also bring our perspectives to bear so that we are able to improve it. And what tends to happen, and I'm sure one of the things that if you speak to our regulator, the NCA and the ministry will tell you, is that it brings a common platform to deal with issues that would generally affect the industry. And it's an innovative way in which we've done this for 6 years and beyond that has helped improve the nature in which our industry works. And it's not for nothing that if you look at the latest report that came out from GSMA on the mobile index, Ghana currently is in sub-Saharan Africa, we are 4th, we are 9th in the whole of Africa. And the interesting thing is, if you look at even our own trajectory between 2014 to now, we are on the up. Between 2016 and 2017, we have crossed the 50 index mark. And also, if you come to mobile money, with the collaboration that the industry is able to do with the industry, there's a lot of progress happening within that sector as well. Before last year, if you look at a Findex report that came, we were behind Tanzania, but now we are joint third with Tanzania. And all of this have come together because we are collaborating. And for all this innovation and things really to work in the industry that we find ourselves in, it requires a lot of frugal collusion. And that's one of the things that we do at the Chamber. But interestingly, the principle under which we work is co-opetition. So we cooperate on common things, but to allow competition to happen so that the customer and other stakeholders will benefit from it. That's what the Telecom Chamber stands for, and that's what we've been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ken. From frugal, collusion to co-op competition. Those are the ministry, understand those steps. So we'll be keeping an eye on you to see how you've been colluding to. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to be a bit innovative now. So the next person, I'll just be innovative and stand behind you to make sure that we have the 2 minutes within that. Can we have my good friend Ericsson just for 2 minutes before we come to Vocacom, Microsoft, and then our friend from Trotro and the Tractor. Can we give him a round of applause?
Hello, Mr. Chair, Mr. Deputy Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to be here, to give me this opportunity. I thought I had more than 2 minutes, but I will try to do my best. The message that I would like to have passing to you is that technology is ready, and that mobility and mobile is critical in Africa. And cooperation is also very important. As mentioned several times, I think mobility and technology will bring innovation, and I think the partnership between private and public is very important to make things happen, as well as the regulatory framework. I will go quickly through my presentation. Maybe I can use this one. Okay. Is it working? Okay, so Ericsson has been in sub-Saharan Africa since 1896. We have had several achievements on the continent. We have been in Ghana as an established office since 1996. We also we have a big office here with regional and, of course, local responsibilities. If we talk about market trends quickly, we see acceleration in technology rollout. We see that we spent maybe 100 years to connect 1 billion person, and then with the mobile 25 years for 5 billion, and going forward for the devices it will accelerate even more. So the connection, the Internet of Things and the network society will accelerate even more if we look at the history and the trend. So 2018 is a pivotal year for 5G. 5G will provide a lot of capabilities to transform and digitize, as you know. 2018 will see the first commercial rollouts in places like North America. We estimate by 2023 that we will have 3.5 billion IoT connectivity, and 20% of the traffic will be on 5G in 2023 globally. If we look at Sub-Saharan, we also see growth in the mobile subscription and in the mobile broadband. 5G probably will not be a reality before 2022, but we see a lot of efforts on the continent to accelerate the development of 5G. Here we look at the smartphone and traffic per user evolution, and we see a big evolution over the coming 5 years, from 18 to 2023. And if we move forward, then of course here you all know this, but I mean the link between the ICT and growth and GDP, when we add additional broadband users, when we add the penetration, etc. So that's have been confirmed by several studies that Ericsson has done with the academia. If we move forward, going forward, everything is asking to be connected, and that's the transformation that we will get to. Everything will be connected. It's not human to human. Machines type communication is the next big thing. Next one, please. Ericsson is also looking at aspects, it has been mentioned before, I think customer experience importance, and we are issuing on a regular basis the consumer trends, consumers' behavior versus the new technologies. And we see aspects how the persons are adapting, what are the consumer experience and expectations from new technologies on different areas, as you can see. Only today I was hearing that in India, we are accusing WhatsApp of increasing criminality, and we are asking them to do efforts in that sense, etc. I mean, it is important to see how the evolution of technology also will affect consumer. Okay, next, please. Here is a video with real 5G end-to-end trial in South Africa that
We are here today in Pretoria, South Africa, on an MTN Ericsson event on the theme of the road to 5G.
I'm very, very excited today because we are demonstrating the first 5G live trial in mobility, and not just in South Africa, but also in the entire continent.
A doctor that is out in the UK, Australia, or wherever they are around the world can be operating on a child here in South Africa in a remote location in real time with technologies of this nature.
All he's got is a virtual reality headset on, and he's driving by data. That's how you're driving. Driving by data. By data.
Okay, I mean, that's just to tell you what 5G will enable us for. So low latency. will bring us to mining application that will be possible through 5G, so to improve security and productivity. This is an example that technologies like 5G would enable. Next, please. Next, so it's a cooperation between a lot of companies, and you can drive your heavy vehicles 400 meters under the ground while sitting, in a nice place, and by putting sensors and coverage in the mine. Those are things that are possible with the new technology. I mean, that will help also the economy. Next, please. Okay, this is the same remote control machines. Next. Okay, so we have different type of uses for the manufacturing depending on the demand. We have the critical machine type communication, like health and automotive, and we have the traditional massive, like agriculture and weather and data collection. And we have the enhanced mobile broadband communication between people that will be brought up by the 4G evolution and 5G. And those are today available. So Ericsson, for example, is shipping equipment now for the radio that are 5G capable by software upgrade. They are already shipped to many places in sub-Saharan Africa. So just to tell you that the preparation is going ahead, and what you are doing, I mean, in that sense, is very relevant and timely. If we continue, spectrum for 5G is very important to allow this, and I know that a lot of effort is being done on this. Ericsson also, as a company, we have a department to support and to work together with the regulators and the governments around 5G spectrum planning going forward. Next, please. So also, I mean, we should not forget the innovation and the sustainability part of it. Next, please. So we have one before, yeah. So all the technologies are mapped into sustainable goals and how it can help. And this is one of the important aspects of Ericsson purpose. So all the technologies that you can see are mapped into sustainable goals. The last one is just I wanted to share with you also as part of the innovation award from Ericsson this year for 2018. A team from Senegal has won the award, and what they have done is that there's a lot of schools without the possibility for lab access. They are allowing this over tablets and smartphones to share the classes like physics and chemistry, and they won the award in Stockholm. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, a good friend from Ericsson. Can we have Vocacom? Vocacom are one of they are technology partners for our digital addressing system. In Ghana, we've introduced a digital addressing system where each property has a unique digital address, and Vocacom are technology partners. I'm sure we've spoken a lot about them, so I'm sure they are going to be very, very, very brief. Zwati, you're welcome. Thank
you. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Nanose Afrifa. I am the CEO for Vocacom. The last 1 year, Vocacom embarked with the support of the Ministry and Ghana Post on a project to address the whole nation using what we term the digital address technology. What we did was to roll out GPS-enabled software that spanned the whole nation, divided the nation into grids of 5 square meters, and ensured that each one of the grids was given a unique code, and necessarily making sure that everybody in this nation had an address. Now, over the last 100 years, as you are well aware, and in most of your countries, people have struggled with addressing, and having this is really changing the face of technology, how deliveries are going to be done, how government services are going to be done. and even how banks are going to interact with their customers. When you think about it, the revolution that this is bringing in, especially when the national ID takes hold and government policies come into play, where for every service that you go to the government to do, the corresponding document will be mailed to you. Suddenly you start to see where the benefits are. All the documents getting mailed means more people getting employed in the post, means more money coming into struggling postal unions across the nation and across the continent. As we change our addressing into this new digital address strategy, one of the key benefits is employment, which is always the constant issue that we worry about. I'd like to very quickly also touch on another issue that Vocacom is looking at as part of our innovative products and services towards the nation. Facial recognition has become the new thing now. For those on iPhone X, we are using facial recognition to log in. But beyond that, we are bringing facial recognition to the everyday user as well. Just like the Ghana's digital address, which we piloted in our business, we are piloting a new product where we log in into the office using facial recognition. Now, in most places, people are holding cards or using fingerprints to clock in and clock out. Well, Vocacom, we've moved this into the next step, which is to use facial recognition to clock in and clock out. What this does, the application for this is enormous, and it's beyond belief. I mean, when you look at most of the telecom companies, for example, and the towers, the biggest problem they are having is constantly people saying, oh, I've gone to do servicing when nobody's been there. Suddenly now, there are facial recognitions, and you don't even need expensive cameras to be able to do that. We are working with many, many organizations to bring this to bear, bring it into everybody's company, government, and many, many other places, where using simple cameras, we integrate it into your HRIS, and suddenly you have facial recognition all over the place. Put that on top of addressing, and you start to see the potential that a new and innovative Ghana is bringing to bear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you care to know, the digital addressing system is from the foundation and the bedrock of our digitalization and formalization of the economy. As we speak now, we are going around the country registering each citizen, giving a unique ID. One of the requirements, apart from one of the IDs that are required, is your digital address, because that will link your ID to your digital address in every transaction that you do. So this project is very important to us. Another round of applause for him. I think before I call my friend from Senegal, Mr. Sarr, can we have a trotro and tractor app to tell us exactly what it entails? For all those who want to know, trotro is a public-private transport system. I don't know what you call it in South Africa, where we have the mini buses where people join them instead of the public buses. And I think he has something on that for us. Okay.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. This is very short, so I'm going to be very brief about this. Basically, Trotro is the most affordable and accessible public transport you can ever find in Ghana. Wherever you are and wherever you want to go, you'll find Trotro in Ghana. So this is the situation we are currently facing in Ghana and most of our African countries. I mean, how many youths will be able to withstand the weather and go through farming and put food on our table like this? 65% of our population or farmers are going through this because they don't have what we call the basic machines, which is tractors, to be able to use. Tractors are expensive, so therefore, how do we get these tractors to the farmers? We developed a platform, very simple, to use the feature phones, because mobile penetration is almost 95% in our sub-Saharan Africa, Ghana for that matter. So a farmer doesn't actually need to use a smartphone like I use, but a farmer should be able to use his YAM phone, what we call YAM phone in Ghana, and a short code to be able to access tractor services from the comfort of his home. Now, he or she can dial the short code number *7148* 85# on all networks. It's toll-free, so there's no barrier. Now, for the owner of the tractor, this is simple. He gets a dashboard where he can see where his machine is, because the machines are fitted with GPS trackers. So when you make the request, you tell us where your farm is, how many acres you are doing. It allows you to even pay with mobile money. So financial inclusion is right there. This is how the system works. So he does the request, tell us where his location is, and then we look on our system, the nearest, next please, the nearest tractor within the vicinity to be able to service his land. He can pay with all the networks. So this is how the farmer or the owner of the tractor look at his dashboard. From the comfort of his home or his office, if you are a tractor owner, you can see how many acres your tractors have done, where it is, and also how much money it has made. So the tractor operator wouldn't come back to tell you stories. Meanwhile, your investment is now secured because we provide the security for it. You can even lock your machine in the evening when you don't want to, by what we call the geofencing and immobilization. Those are some of the things we do. So far, we've been able to register over 10,000 farmers. We started operation just about 2 years ago, and it was also because of the enabling environment we have. There's a short code which is provided by the NCA, but on this note, we'll plead with the NCA to look at some of the startups in this ecosystem. I know I have Asoriba in the building. They're also doing something similar, that is for church management system. How's the market like? Currently, Ghana has about 13 million hectares of land arable. 60 or 70% of this land, arable land, are managed and owned by smallholder farmers. So therefore, touching on the very essence of our people. Over the last year, we expect there's a 1,300 units or deficit of tractors in the system. So that means that we need more tractors to be fitted and then to be able to get our farmers use these machines. And we're doing this by collaboration with different partners. This is the team. I'm in charge of operations, and these are my team. Members Kamal, Adam, and the rest of the team makes this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At this juncture, can I call is Mr. Samuel Yeboah here, Google, C-Square? Oh, okay. Please, let's welcome him to the dais.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. So talking about technology, talking about innovation, we know this cannot materialize if we don't have good infrastructure. Let me give you some background about C-Squared. So C-Squared was set up by Google in 2013 to build open access infrastructure, especially in the emerging market. And our first operation was in Uganda. So talking about internet penetration, we all know, especially in Ghana, where we have about under 6 submarine cable, people still struggle when it comes to internet usage. And today, talking about 5G and other technologies or the great applications we are all developing, we need a good internet to enjoy such services. So what C-Squared, or the business model of C-Squared, is to build an open access infrastructure on wholesale basis, because we all believe and we all know that when it comes to the various markets, we have a lot of players in the market. So in Ghana, for instance, we've built close to almost about 1,000 kilometers, and this is to enable the players in the market to serve their users. Okay. All right, so when it comes to the benefits, there are several benefits across the dimension. This includes reducing TOC, because we all know that one of the challenges the ISPs and MNOs face is the CapEx they need to build these infrastructures. and also run the operation as well. But C-Square coming into this equation, what it means is because it's a wholesale share, what you call shared model, we reduce the total cost of ownership of our customers. What we also do is we have a good payment model for our customers, so there's that flexibility for them when it comes to the required what you call finance to run the operation. It also reduces the burden on them because C-Square, our main focus is what you call infrastructure, and we take out that burden from our customers and only focus on the customers as well. Then one of the what you call benefit also, because we only focus on infrastructure, we're able to deploy fast in terms of quality. One of the good feedbacks we've had from our customers in the past 3 years is when it comes to trouble tickets or complaints they get from our customers, they've been able to reduce that by almost 95%, which is good for them. So we have various products. We initially came into the market in Uganda and in Ghana as coming up with a product that is unlimited. But after being in operation for a while, one of the things we realized was our product was not meeting the needs of our customers. So we also introduced other products like managed internet, especially for the SMBs talking about startup as well. We build fiber to any location you want us to build to. One of the products we also have is a wholesale Wi-Fi, which is currently in Uganda, and we're also planning to deploy that in Ghana as well. So today, across the operations, we have about 40 customers. We've built close to 2,000 kilometers of fiber, and we've connected about 1,500 sites. And when it comes to handhold, because it's a metro fiber, we've deployed like over 5,000 handholds in our network. So Uganda today, we've built 995 kilometers, connect about over 1,000 customer sites, and we have about 19. And this is at the city of Entebbe and Kampala. In Ghana, as I mentioned earlier, we've built a metro fiber across 3 cities, Accra, Tema, and in Kumasi. Today, we've signed about 21 customers, and we've connected over 500 sites. In Liberia, so talking about partnership, one way to achieve this is what you call partnership. And what we've done is, in partnership with USAID and the government of Liberia, we're also building over 200 kilometers to connect government agencies and some other businesses as well. Unfortunately, Liberia has only one submarine cable. So as part of our expansion strategy, what we also intend to do is to build a backbone from Monrovia to 2 of the neighboring countries, that is Ivory Coast and Sierra Leone as well. Yeah. All right, so we know we all can achieve this if we don't get the support of the right partners. What we do is we engage all the regulators and the government agencies, as well as operators and investors, and also the players within the ecosystem to achieve this. So thank you.
Thank you very much, C-Squared. At this stage, very quickly, may I invite our colleagues from Microsoft, if they are here, for a very quick presentation on what they have. Can you welcome him to the stage, please?
Good afternoon. Bonjour. My name is Karim Batish. I'm a director of the engineering team of Office 365 of Microsoft. Very honored. I feel very lucky. Thankful to have the chance to come and speak with you, and I'll do my best to be brief. I want to share very quickly perspective we have, and I have, from Microsoft on innovation and opportunity in Africa. And I'll try to hit 3 quick topics of challenges and opportunities. The first is how we see products. As I work on Office 365 and Office product, which I see many of you using, and which is very exciting to see, one of the things that's happened, of course, in the last many years in Africa is the infrastructure has greatly improved. So as we've started to build these cloud services over the last decade, getting them to be accessible and usable from Africa has provided us a great opportunity to reach into businesses and help elevate many of the things that businesses do today. Help them communicate better, help them organize more efficiently, help organizations be more transparent to both their users and their customers, for governments to their citizens and employees. And that, for us, has been both very rewarding and very exciting. Along with that increase of access, increase of infrastructure, has come a quite serious challenge. Even with all of the infrastructure that is getting added to Africa, and as our colleagues from Ericsson and C-Square just spoke, there are still some challenges reaching people in Africa and reaching places in Africa. And even this week, meeting with some of our customers here, talking about the challenges of them reaching to our services and infrastructure that are hosted out of Europe. It takes quite a long time for the speed of light to travel from Ghana to Amsterdam, or Ghana to Paris, or Ghana to other places, and similarly much longer for countries that don't have submarine cables that reach to those points in Europe. So for us, the challenge then is to build infrastructure, add data centers, add endpoints or front doors to Microsoft's backbone across Africa. And so the first data centers we'll open in Africa will be later this year in South Africa, and we'll continue to add front doors and work with telecom partners to improve peering around the continent. But that brings to the second challenge, which is government and regulation and opportunity. One of the things that we have seen is that an increasing number of governments are able to use our products to help increase their efficiency and better serve their citizens and help their businesses get online, as Ghana does. We got to visit the NITA data center yesterday, which was a fantastic experience to see how the government in Ghana is providing not only a fantastic internet exchange for its citizens, but also a way to host government services, and as well to help the private sector get online in an efficient way and reach to the rest of the world. Along with that government onboarding, what's happened as we've expanded around the world is we're faced with a web of regulations and challenges that are not set for the modern world. As the professor mentioned earlier in the example of his blockchain place of the file folders, many of the regulations that governments have around storing data, or where a business that is regulated must operate, are based on standards around paper and storage of documents and physical presence. Whereas in the digital world, your bits may be stored, or the data may be stored in any number of places. And so the challenge of those regulations, as many of us face them, is that they're simply not ready for the cloud, or in the cloud, we are trying to figure out how to adapt or transpose those ideas onto new technology. And engaging with governments one at a time is a challenge for both businesses that want to move to the cloud, organizations that want to move to cloud, and for us to be able to provide cloud services, or any cloud provider to provide services to organizations. So the opportunity there for us, I believe as a community and in partnership, is to help agree on what those standards should be and what they should look like. In the case of Europe, for example, Microsoft worked with the European Commission and Parliament on privacy regulations. And so those things greatly help individuals and users and help clarify what the roles and responsibilities of businesses are, of cloud providers, and of governments and regulators. And those kinds of frameworks, I think, are an opportunity ahead that will enable both cloud providers, governments, businesses, and organizations in Africa to get to the cloud and take advantage of the cloud even more. The last place, I will say, is mostly an opportunity. For Microsoft, our challenge, and as I've overseen global development, is when we bring our products and we work with customers in different places in different countries, the things that we build are very generalized. We build a platform for businesses, for organizations to communicate, share, collaborate, and those things will work for a very broad set of businesses, but they're not very specific. And so what we do when we go to new countries is, and new regions and new continents, is partner with local businesses and work with entrepreneurs so that they may also both help us and help themselves provide a platform and get business and organizations in those countries, in those regions, to do much more than they could do before. The corollary is when a business onboards to a cloud platform like Microsoft's or to any of the others, our competitors as well, that then can provide those businesses with a larger global reach. They can then leverage those cloud services to reach beyond the borders of their countries to all the other places that those cloud services exist, and then exploit that platform to then advertise, to sell, to provide services to customers beyond the borders from where they started. From the Microsoft perspective, our mission is to help every organization, every individual achieve more and reach their full potential. And I think, based on what I've seen and the folks that I've spoken to, from the very many entrepreneurs, some of them are in the room today, some of the students who are learning about technology in ways that I would say lead the world, from the many women here who are doing very special work to help others learn about technology. It has been a quite impressive and impactful week. I look forward to coming back to Ghana. Thank you.
We at the Ministry of Finance have been piloting the Microsoft Office 365 for some time. That we are developing a smart workplace where we are using paperless office. We share memos, calendars are paperless, and we are using a Microsoft application. Thank you very much. It's our friend, Mr. Sarr from Senegal. Is he here? Mr. Sarr from Senegal? It's okay. Okay, thank you very much. I think we are bringing this session to an end, but we can't really leave here because I want some of my earlier on when my colleague, Mr. Boateng, was talking to you about what we've done here in Ghana. We have a technology center, what we call Accra Digital Center, which is a facility of commercial space where we have a lot of cluster of SMEs, BPOs, and provided opportunity for co-working spaces. And with the permission of my chairman, Mr. Chairman, we have some of our tenants here, those who are benefiting from that facility. So I'd like to invite them to come on stage, and each of them with half a second, just tell us what the facility is about, what they do, and how they are leveraging on the opportunities we have with them. If my colleague from Asoriba is here, if you can join us here. Randolph from Visa App. Cecil from eCampus. Kelechi, are you here? Impact Hub. And then Lady, what's the word? And then Stimbees, are you here? Just for half a minute, if you can tell us what you do very quickly and tell us how you are using innovation and taking advantage of the opportunities that it provides. So, Chairman, with your permission, just half a second each, half a minute each.
Thank you very much. My name is Nana from Asoriba. Asoriba means church member, and we know in Sub-Saharan Africa, churches are a very big thing. We built a technology that can help basically connect over 500 million African Christians, helps them to make payments to their churches, connect with one another. And our technology can actually help any other organized groups like other religions, schools, and associations to engage, connect, store data, and receive payments from their members. Thank you, and pleasure meeting you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kelechi. I am the Chief of Operations for Impact Hub Accra. And we are a private sector version of what the government is implementing at the Accra Digital Center. Most of the conversations we are having today started because the private sector had led the initial research and development. And so we are at the phase where we are essentially creating enabling environments for SMEs to thrive. So thanks to people like C-Squared, we're able to connect businesses, we're able to run acceleration programs, we're able to run makerspace programs, and that's all for now. If you'd like to know more about Impact Hub Accra, I will be around and we can discuss a bit more. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lady Omega Hammond, and I'm the CEO of Ampersand Technologies Limited. We are a software development company. We run on just receiving problems from individuals, businesses, and we build technology solutions. So we see technology as an enabler to help us to build good solutions using applications, web, mobile, or customized systems. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Linda Ansong, the Executive Director of STEMD's organization. So young girls usually in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So today I'm very excited about the infrastructure being created by so many organizations and companies. So it gives me more evidence that what I'm doing is very necessary because we have to train the next generation to utilize these infrastructure to grow more businesses. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Cecil. I run eCampus. eCampus literally puts the classroom and workplace corporate training materials in your palm. So the concept is people are too busy to absorb too much content, but they have little times to absorb micro content. That's in virtual reality, audio, podcasts, visualizations, discussions. You need to you need to monitor these people by giving them points, set rewards that create alternative credentials. So if I don't have a degree, I can show my digital badge on eCampus for leadership and get a job. Then complete that with incentives where I can convert my points to things like Uber Ride, KFC, healthcare. So we make instant justification for the millennials who want to get something immediately for whatever they learn. So you can talk to us, see how you can help your country. It's in 7 different languages: Amharic, English, French, Portuguese, and then Spanish. So definitely your language is in there. Let's talk.
Hello, everyone. Africa, just like many places in the world, there are very few doctors, and lots of people are using smartphones. So we decided to bring doctors in your pocket. So once you have a mobile phone, you can download an application called BISA, and it connects the patient to doctors. And I'm happy he mentioned big data in his presentation because we are getting a lot of data, and our platform is able to analyze the data. So in the near future, if any disease like Ebola hits Africa, our platform will be the first to know, not CDC in the US. Thank you.
I think all these innovators deserve a very big round of applause. And I'm proud to tell you that most of these guys are taking advantage of our facility at Accra Digital Center, where we provided 9,000 square meter space of commercial, highly subsidized facility where they are able to take advantage of that. And very soon, within the next few weeks, we're going to have an innovation hub and a mobile lab there to ensure that we can help them to accelerate and to help our innovators. Thank you very much. I think I have to thank Dr. Boateng and Dr. Quaino also for their perspective and their insights, the immense insight they've given us today. Big data, innovation, and blockchain. Technology provides the spectrum for us for situational analysis, those of us who do strategy. Once you do the situational analysis, from the big data provider, as Dr. Boateng said, apart from the very obvious, there are inherent relationships, inherent values in that. We are able to create products, and then that's where innovation comes in, using the big data, using the opportunities they provide for us to be able to provide solutions and enhance our development. Let's give a big round of applause to them. Thank you very much, and I wish to thank you for supporting this session, and we look forward to continue the session. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Probably, Mr. Chairman, do you want to bring our young innovators back?
Okay. Okay, so we are session 11. Session 11. Almost at the end. So at this juncture, I'd like to call on Mr. Ali Badai, the ITU area representative for West Africa. So he is going to provide us with the conclusions based on all the sessions that we have done, session number 1 up to session number 11. Sally, can you come up? While prepares to come up, we also will call on Emily of Malawi to prepare to give the vote of thanks. Emily of Malawi, vote of thanks. Ali said because you are not clapping, he's not going to stand up. So I think when you begin to clap, he will come up. We need 2 computers. Okay, Ali is going to need 2 computers to do this report because we're still trying to consolidate them. So he's requested to do it from here. So if you folks don't mind, okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to give you the summary report of the RDF. So the Regional Development Forum for Africa was successfully held from 18 to 20 of July 2018 at Accra International Conference Center in Ghana with the theme ICT for Sustainable Development Goals toward the implementation of WTDC 17 outcomes. In recall, RDF aims at sharing and discussing the achievement, experiences, work program, and partnerships amongst ITU members and interested partners for effective implementation of World Telecommunication Development Conference. The forum was held by the ITU International Telecommunication Union in collaboration with the Ministry of Communication of Ghana. I have some figures on the participants. I don't have the refined figures, but of course, in the final version of the report, you will be seeing those figures. So we think we are between 200 and 250 attendees for the RDF, which is great. Regarding the opening section, the forum was officially opened by Honorable Minister Ozola Owusu-Ekuful, Minister of Communication of Ghana, who delivered a keynote address. The opening ceremony was witnessed also the participation of Honorable Minister of Information of Ghana, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and the Deputy Minister of Communication, Honorable George Anda. Honorable Ozola Owusu-Ekuful emphasized the need for African countries to work on integrated, resilient broadband infrastructure development as a foundation for digital economy promotion on the continent. She also pointed out the excellent opportunities provided by ICTs in terms of rapid growth, value-added generation, and job creation, particularly for a continent like Africa, where 60% of the population is young, so 60% under the age of 25. ICT is about innovation and cutting-edge technologies such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, big data, and are positively impacting and shaping the development of other businesses and critical sectors like agriculture, health, education, and public administration in general through better productivity and efficiency. She concluded by expressing Ghana's ambition to become the first African ICT market through the full appropriation of ICT and digital economy. But before the Honorable Minister, we had Mr. Joe Anokie, Director General of NCA, who was the first speaker at the opening ceremony. He delivered his welcoming remarks on behalf of the host country. He welcomed all participants to Ghana for RDF and expressed his appreciation to the ITU for having chosen Ghana to host the event. Mr. Anokie highlighted the importance of RDF as a platform for all actors to come together to exchange best practices and experiences for the development of the ICT ecosystem for a better digital economy uptake in Africa. And then after Mr. Anokie, we had Mr. Brahima Sanu, ITU's BDT Director, who also welcomed all the participants to RDF. He magnified the long-standing cooperation between ITU and Ghana and thanked the Ghanaian authorities for the support to ITU activities, including this current RDF organization. Mr. Sanu also emphasized the importance of regional initiatives implementation as a good means to accelerate progress in all sectors of life like education, health, agriculture, energy, and transport. Thanks to regional initiatives implementation, Africa can make its communities smarter, empower women, youth, and people with disabilities. Overall, regional initiatives' successful implementation will help put a human face on ICTs, as he said. Then we had the session one on the high-level roundtable on boosting the digital economy for digital economy development in Africa. That session was moderated by Mr. Andrew Rugege, the ITU's Regional Director for Africa, and witnessed the participation of panelists like Ms. Regina Fleur Bessou from Côte d'Ivoire, Mr. Cosmas from Zimbabwe, the Honorable Minister Ursula Ewusul Ekuful from Ghana, Dr. Isa Boateng from Ghana, and Mr. Bafo from DRC. The first intervention was from Honorable Minister Ursula Ewusul Ekuful, who exposed Ghana's vision on digital economy development, the first thing to do being the development of reliable infrastructure. According to her, Ghana is connected to 5 submarine cables. National telecommunication operators provide broadband connectivity to end users through technologies like fiber to the X, 4G LTE, etc. In Ghana, we also have a national technology park development like the one in Accra. And we have world-class application development such as EID systems, applications for tax traceability and collection. Data financial technology is going on in the country. In addition to that, Ghana is using big data for planning purpose. Ghana has joined the Smart Africa Alliance to consolidate its migration to digital economy process. The Honorable Minister's intervention was completed by Dr. Boateng from Ghana, who addressed the importance of ICT as an enabler in all sectors of activity, and particularly for good governance and e-democracy. ICT will allow the achievement of Africa Union 2063 agenda and the UN 2030 agenda for SDGs. And then we had some other interventions in, we have some other interventions that follow the same logic of infrastructure development, connectivity to submarine cables and connectivity within neighboring countries, human capacity building and skill development, promotion of a culture of cybersecurity, and fight against fraud in the ICT sector, ICT accessibility and affordability, application development for the digitization of critical sectors such as health, education, agriculture, and administration. Session 2 now. Session 2 was on the topic setting the tone and lesson learned. The session was moderated by Honorable George Anda, Deputy Minister of Communication of Ghana. The only one speaker was Mr. Andrew Rugege, who delivered a presentation that stressed the objective of the regional development forums as serving as a platform, enabling the ITU in the region to present the membership the work done over the previous years and to seek guidance from the membership and partners on activities planned for the following year. Now, session 3 was on delivering on Africa's regional initiatives of WTDC 17. The session was moderated by Mr. Andrew Rugege, the Regional Director for Africa. The session took into perspective the outcome of WTDC 17, the Buenos Aires Action Plan and the implementation of regional initiatives. The first speaker of that session was Mr. Jean-Jacques Massima Langi, the ITU's representative for Central Africa and Madagascar, who presented the Buenos Aires Action Plan programs, objectives, outcomes, and outputs, the regional initiatives, the projects, and study groups. Then the second intervener was Ms. Regina Fleur Assoumou from Côte d'Ivoire. She is the chair of ITU D Study Group 1. She presented the work being done by the ITU D Study Groups 1 and 2, and the questions being studied during these study groups, and the relationship between the study group questions and Africa's regional initiatives implementations. And then the last presenter was Mr. Marcelino Tayob, the ITU's senior advisor at the Regional Office for Africa, who presented the guidelines and framework on regional initiative projects for the working groups. I recall those regional initiatives. The regional initiative number 1 is building digital economies and fostering innovation in Africa. The second one is promotion of emerging broadband technologies. The third one is building trust and security in the use of telecommunication, information, and communication technologies. Number 4 is strengthening human and institutional capacity building. Number 5 is management and monitoring of radio frequency spectrum and transition to digital broadcasting. Session number 4 is on regional organizations perspective. I'm the one who moderated that session. And the speakers were Ms. Miriam Slimani from ATU, Mr. Abose Akwekpapo from WEMU, and Mr. Muhammadu Arabani Saibu from ESMT. That session was devoted to the coordination and cooperation with regional entities. Just to summarize the presentations made during that session, ATU's presentation highlighted the benefit of broadband and their impact on welfare, job creation, consumers' comparative advantage, noting that the contribution of traditional sectors to GDP declines in all countries. The presentation also elaborated, among others, ATU's perspectives for digital economic uptake, aiming at achieving the AU 2063 agenda. Then WEMU's presentation was on the efforts of regional economic communities for the entities, for the countries in promoting regional framework on policies and strategies, but also on the need to develop reliable and sustainable infrastructure through redundancy and failover mechanism. Then we had the ASMT's presentation that was done from academia perspective. It aimed at setting up a world-class training institution like ASMT with centers of excellences labeled. And ASMT is also addressing cutting-edge technologies like blockchain, Internet of Things, big data, and taking them into account in its curricular development. Then we had session 5, 6, and 7 that were breakout sessions. They were breakout sessions. And during those breakout sessions, people had to work in groups, in working groups. Working group number 1 was on building digital economy and fostering innovation in Africa. It was chaired by Ms. Rachel Alwala from Kenya. She had Mr. Mamadou Sarr from Senegal as deputy chair, and Mr. Samuel Agiekum from Ghana and Mr. Aziz Traoré from Côte d'Ivoire as rapporteurs. Working group number 2 was on promoting emerging broadband technologies. The chairman was Mr. Dr. Marcel Kebré from Burkina Faso, and he had vice chair and rapporteurs. We'll capture the names later on. Working group number 3, mixing French and English. Building trust in the security building trust and security in the use of telecommunication, information, and communication technology. The chairman was Mr. Kwame Ba Achemfor from Ghana, and the deputy, the vice chair was Mr. Kennedy Jikolm Baibe from Chad. And one of the rapporteurs was Ms. Jennifer Mensah from Ghana, and the other rapporteur was from Ghana, from Cameroon, sorry. I'll capture the name later on. Working group number 4 was on strengthening human and institutional capacity building. The chairman was Mr. Bafor Detshu from DRC, and the vice chair was Mr. Ikechukwu Adinde from Nigeria. I'll capture the names of the rapporteurs later on. Working group number 5 was on management and monitoring of radio frequency spectrum and transition to digital broadcasting. The chairman was Mr. Leonel Ignacio Augusto from Angola, and the vice chair was Mr. Enza Kone from Côte d'Ivoire. The names of the rapporteurs will be captured later on. Session number 8 was about the reports from the breakout sessions. The most important thing to highlight here is that the breakout sessions came up with project proposals. So I'm going to maybe give the microphone to Ms. Jennifer Mensah to read the titles of the projects that have been proposed during session 8, during the report from the breakout sessions. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the first working group, the projects that they came out with had these titles: Strategy and Policy Planning for Digital Economy in Africa Region. Then their second project was titled Innovation Ecosystems, Capacity Building, and Manufacturing ICT Goods in Africa. The third was Using Digital Health Services to Accelerate the Attainment of Health SDGs in the Africa Region. The fourth was Using Digital Services to Accelerate the Attainment of Food Security, which is one of the SDGs in the Africa Region. The fifth is Addressing Interoperability Challenges Occasioned by Disruption from Digital Innovations. The projects that came out of Working Group 2 are titled as follows: High Speed, High Quality, and Cost Effective Broadband Connectivity and Access. 2, Just a sec. Innovation ecosystems, capacity building, and manufacturing ICT goods in Africa. 3, development of digital economies and digital inclusion in countries of the African region. And 4th, promotion of technologies in Africa. Then the projects for Working Group 3, the projects that Working Group 3 came out with have the following titles: establishment of national, sub-regional, and regional sets in Africa. 2, revise the ITU's toolkit on cybersecurity and facilitate its implementation by member states. 3, develop guidelines for the protection of privacy and personal data. 4, annual assessment of ITU Global Cybersecurity Index. The 4th working group had the following projects: online connectivity and peering of ICT centers of excellence. 2nd, development, adoption of digital labs and workshops. 3rd, development of ICT incubators for startups in Africa. 4th, digital inclusion and ICT accessibility promotion in Africa. The 5th working group had the following projects: regional high-level workshop, equipment type approval, regional and national labs. 3rd, spectrum planning and refarming. 4th, develop business case for manufacturing of or assembling of TV premises, TV set-top boxes, etc. in the region. 5th, regional cross-border frequency coordination. So these are the various projects that came out from the breakout sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. So after Jennifer, I'm going to present now the outcome of session number 9 on multi-stakeholders roundtable on innovation and partnership, delivering the regional initiatives. That session was chaired by Mr. Kwame Ba-Achemfo from Ghana. The panelists were Ms. Aida Jallo from the ITU, Mr. Ngai Marufu from Zimbabwe, Mr. Abdulaziz Traoré from Côte d'Ivoire, and Ms. Rachel Alwala from Kenya. Ms. Diallo presented the ITU's innovation framework, and Mr. Marifu introduced the innovation drive and objectives in Zimbabwe that was set up by the Ministry of ICT and with the support of ProTras, which is the regulator in Zimbabwe. And this is done through the use of Universal Service Fund, that ProTras is the trustee. And Mr. Traoré from Côte d'Ivoire talked about innovation that focus on poverty reduction in Côte d'Ivoire and illiteracy eradication among the people of Côte d'Ivoire. He also mentioned the online platform developed in the country that is called MIS, that are used for teaching and extensively used by the student as a learning platform. He mentioned that Côte d'Ivoire was awarded the ISI Digital Innovation Award that was applauded by the participants. Then we had Ms. Rachel Alwala from Kenya, who presented the experience of a country that is ICT-centric innovation ecosystem. She mentioned that Kenya is known by innovation and gave the example of M-Pesa, Kenya. Then we have Mr. Boateng from Ghana, who focused his presentation on the availability of infrastructure in Ghana as the main enabler for from extensive fiber optics to mobile networks, for instance, LTE, 4G LTE. In rural community, Ghana have community centers that students and farmers in the rural area can access to ICT-based services. So that's what we have on session 9. Regarding session 10, the notes have not been consolidated yet, but we are going to incorporate them in the report, probably during lunch break. Mr. Chair, this is what I can say. Sorry, I forgot to mention something very important. Mr. Anokie, Director General of NCA of Ghana, was appointed chair of this RDF. Very sorry to have overlooked that. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Ali, for the summary. A lot of work has been done. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's amazing how you and your team have been able to capture it all. I think you deserve a round of applause. I was going to ask for another round of applause, but because you forgot to mention that I was elected chairman, I won't do that. Quick announcements. Participants are kindly asked to fill 2 forms going around. One of them is airport shuttle for departure, date and time. It's very important so that we know when to pick you and where to pick you, please. And then also attendance sheet. Attendance sheet. Are they still going? We still have the reports going around? Okay. All right, so that is that. Now, quickly, before we move to the next session, I need to call 2 people. Number 1, Rachel, are you here? Rachel Kenya? Can you come and give us a brief information on upcoming ATU report?
Thank you, Chair. I'll take just 1 minute. I know we have been talking about ICTs, meetings, and we have more meetings, but they are all important. I just want to remind all of us that Kenya will be hosting the African Telecoms Union Conference of Plenipotentiaries, which is a conference of ministers in August. And before that, we'll have preliminary meetings, including the ATU Administrative Council, for those who sit on it. It will be on 9th and 10th. And then on 13th and 14th, we will be having the regional preparatory meeting for the last one, actually, for the African region, as we prepare for the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference in October, November in Dubai. And then after that, on 15th and 16th, we'll have the conference preparatory committee, which will be a senior officers meeting in preparation for the African Telecom Union, or ATU Conference of Plenipotentiaries. Just for information as well, ATU has also organized a ministerial roundtable on 16th afternoon for the ministers who will be coming. So please be so kind to pass this information and prepare for your ministers as they get ready to come to the conference. We look forward to hosting you in Nairobi, and also revenging on the hospitality that we have seen here in Ghana, and we welcome you in August. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, now before we call on Emily Malawi to give the vote of thanks, also I'd like to call Mr. Massima. Or if you can just give us a little overview of the spectrum monitoring workshop for next week.
Very much, Chair. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are staying with us in Accra to benefit from the weekend in this very nice town, but also to start thinking of the workshop organized Monday and Tuesday, spectrum monitoring. You have all received the agenda. For all who are registered, there will be a visit for radio communication engineers attending this workshop Monday morning to the broadcasting labs. Some of you have already made this visit. So you will join us here Monday morning at 10. Registration for workshop will start at 12. And from 10 to 12, we will have to visit these broadcasting labs. With more details, because this was a group visit, but now you are in your lobby there, and of course, it will be more detailed for spectrum engineers and to go deeply in the functionalities of these marvelous tools we have all visited yesterday on the amiable invitation of NCA. So thank you very much. For those staying here, you can see me and to confirm where you are, if you change hotels or you never know, during the weekend. But here, everyone should be here in this room Monday morning at 10. Thank you.
Thank you. So Monday morning at 10, if you plan to be part of the workshop Monday morning at 10, be here. A visit to the NCA to look at the spectrum monitoring, broadcast monitoring. This is a much more detailed visit where you can now engage in technical discussions. Okay. All right. Now, quickly, just in case somehow you came by a missing laptop, just in case, please ensure that you let the organizers know. One more time, just in case that you came by a missing laptop. Very important. Okay, so with that said, I'd like to call on Emily Malawi to give us the word of thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm the Deputy Minister of Communications for Ghana, the BDT Director, the Director General for National Communications Authority for Ghana. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to stand before you all at the end of this forum to give a vote of thanks. And on behalf of all the participants to this forum, I would like to say thank you, a big thank you to the Government of Ghana, Communications Ministry, and most especially to the National Communications Authority of Ghana. I would like to let you know that we had a very wonderful arrival in this country, in this beautiful city of Accra. We didn't have any hassles. We didn't experience any hassles on our arrival. And we have had a wonderful stay in this city. Actually, the people of Ghana are very friendly and are very welcoming, and we thank you for that. We are also grateful to the ITU for organizing this forum. We have learned a great deal in this forum, and actually, we are indebted to all the speakers who have spoken in this forum. As a matter of a takeaway home, we have a lot of lessons learned from the regional initiatives that are being done in various countries, and now they are geared to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We have also lessons learned from the innovation hubs and the usage of the Universal Service Fund to address the innovation hubs. We have also lessons learned from the innovation hubs and partnerships, but also some lessons learned from the ICT sector of Ghana and how the Greater is geared to oversee the development of the sector. And also we have observed that there have been an active participation by all participants in this forum, and a thing which is highly recommended. And then once again, we are grateful to NCA, Ghana, and all its effort that they have made for making our stay here in Ghana comfortable. And most of all, we thank you all for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The dear lady is from Malawi. And that was the vote of thanks from participants. We are into the closing ceremony for the African Regional Development Forum. At this point in time, I will invite the Regional Director, African Office for the ITU, Mr. Andrew Regege, to come up stage. The Chairman for the Forum, Mr. Joe Anoche of Ghana, and our Honorable Deputy Minister of Communications, MP for Awutu, Senior West, George Anda, to join us as well. Can we welcome them with an applause? Soon, the forum will be over. So I will invite Mr. Andrew Regege, the Regional Director of ITU, African Office, to give us his closing remarks. Sir.
For this one, I need to be upstanding. Honorable George, Mr. Patience, my friend and my chairman, Anoche, yeah. You, very, very important participants. You know that in Africa, we have lots and lots of proverbs or sayings, and I cannot leave Ghana without giving you one. In my language, which is Kinyarwanda, we say, akaryoshye ntigahora mu itama. Loosely translated, that means what is sweet never stays in your mouth for long. We have come to the close of a wonderful 3 days in this country of Ghana, this beautiful city of Accra. It has meant a lot to us. It has meant a lot to ITU. It has meant a lot to member states who are here. And I think it will be, the effect will stay with us for long. What we went through in reviewing what has happened the last year gave us an opportunity to thank you for your support, to thank you that ITU has been able, or my office has been able to deliver what we did in 2017, but more importantly, that we were able to chart the way forward with the regional initiatives that you, the membership, agreed on in Buenos Aires 2017. I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much, not only for attending this RDF, but also for making RDF in one of the most enjoyable, one of the most productive RDFs that we've had ever since the start of RDFs. It is my hope that the collaboration we discussed during these last 3 days will be the bedrock of the implementation of regional initiatives for this cycle, for the 2018-2021 cycle. And that some of them that will start 2018, I will shortly be in touch with you, follow up, so that we can start. I did mention to you that there are those who doubt Africa's capacity to implement these regional initiatives, although the regional initiatives are in nobody else's interest but the Africans. For the government and people of Ghana, thank you. Coming to Ghana was no accident. I think it was preordained. We have seen innovation in action. We have seen state-of-the-art facilities that you have. I have visited the facilities that you have, some of them 3 times in the last 3 days. I did not get tired because I learned something new every time. And I hope that all of you learned something. Some of them we have not seen before. Some of them we've seen somewhere, but not in an African context. Some of them we've seen somewhere, but not as modern. The integrated platform monitoring quality of service, monitoring spectrum, monitoring revenue assurance. That is a first in Africa. And that shows where emphasis and where the priorities for this country are. That shows that quality of service for the customers that pay for it is very important. We are beyond the time where an operator could get away with anything. You've paid for your service, but the quality of service is rubbish. We are beyond that, and Ghana has led us in this effort to hold our operators accountable, to hold them accountable to their responsibilities, their licensing responsibilities, and to make sure that our people have the service that they have paid for, the services that they deserve. We talked a lot about spectrum being a resource that is not renewable, about the importance of making sure that it is used sparingly, that it is used in the right way. And this platform that monitors how this is used, that monitors that it is not interfering with neighbors, is also extremely important. We know that Ghana has gone a long way in analog to digital migration. I talked endlessly about the value of the digital dividend and why your countries should migrate, and through the importance of what we are talking about. Mr. Masima has just announced to you the workshop that we have next week. Let me also say that we have a project with the European Union and the African Union that is going to run for the next 3-4 years to ensure that the use of spectrum in supporting broadband technologies coming up is put on the front burner. We have a number of activities that we are going to do in that, and I will be calling on you for your support, for your collaboration. This project that is called PRIDA. It is a follow-up project that was very successful, again supported by the European Union, called HIPSA. We have seen conformance type approval labs that have sections or individual labs for radio frequency and signaling, for EMF, for DTT, receiver labs, and for how it affects you and me in terms of their effect if badly conceived or calibrated on our bodies, SAR. Again, the mine and the 259 others that attended this RDF, our excitement is not only about what you have done for the people of Ghana. It is what you have done to lead the people of Africa. It is that these labs will not only be used by you. It is my wish and my intention to encourage other countries to use these labs. What you may not know is that these labs are very expensive. But Ghana has made the decision to invest for her people. But they have also been generous enough to ask or to invite the rest of us to use these facilities. And therefore, I call on our countries to take up this offer, and particularly in the issues of capacity building. Right now, we send our people to be trained outside this region for training on conformance and interoperability. We have an opportunity now to use the labs that are in our region for this training, to sign mutual recognition agreements with Ghana and use their labs. We have an opportunity to support the effort of one of us that has been daring enough to take the lead. For that, I thank you. And I would also like to say that most of what we've seen in Ghana attains to most of what we have been discussing in terms of regional initiatives. And therefore, we have the opportunity, we have had the opportunity to learn, to see and to learn. But let me invite you, because seeing once is not enough. Let me invite you to get in touch with the regulator here, deputy minister here, so that we can have teams of people coming to actually see the application and how knowledge can be transferred to the rest of our countries. Thank you for leading us in this effort. My special thanks now need to go to the chairman. I have had many chairs for RDFs and for other things. I haven't seen one yet, the amount of work he has that has been present for the 3 days and not lost 5 minutes where we were alone. Sir, I thank you. I have come to know Joe, not for a long time, but in the short time that I have known him, I have developed deep respect for him, deep respect for his attention to detail, deep respect for demand, for quality, everything that he has under his watch. For that, Joe, I thank you personally, and I'm always learning. I intend to learn from you. NCA, him for your impeccable quality, time that we landed at the airport, time that we are about to leave, that we have not missed a step. And that is rare. Again, it is to our benefit, learn from your organization, able to enjoy it, worked tirelessly from the hostesses that we had, protocol, even the technical staff. Thank you. Let me not forget that without our interpreters, we never have been able to communicate as effectively as we have. Mr. Chairman, something that I very often forget to do, and that is to thank most sincerely my own staff. They have done a lot of work, and although sometimes I don't recognize you, I appreciate it. So thank you. It only remains for me to wish all of you who are going back a safe journey and good afterthought contemplation on the regional initiatives. And I expect you to come up with more thoughts, but more importantly, to harass me about implementation going forward. For those that are remaining for the spectrum monitoring workshop, I will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The applause hasn't started yet. The applause is, yes, should be done. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew Rugege, the Regional Director for the African Office, ITU. So at this point in time, the applause may even start before I invite the chairman of this forum, Mr. Joe Anoche, to give us his closing remarks.
Thank you, Kwame. Honorable Deputy Minister for Communication, Honorable George Anda. Mr. Andrew Rugege, Director, ITU Regional Office for Africa. Thank you for the kind words. You're very generous. Very much appreciated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our presence here today stems from the vision of the International Telecommunications Union. And we are grateful to the ITU team led here today by Mr. Andrew Rugege. Let me thank members for giving me the opportunity to become your chairman. I also appreciate the confidence you have reposed in me by working with me over these 3 days to enable us to develop projects to see Africa through the next phase of its ICT. All too soon, yes, and again, all too soon, we have come to the end of the very interesting and memorable ITU event, which has been characterized with very informative and interactive sessions for 3 days. I believe that we are living here equipped with a wealth of knowledge from sharing and discussions of various country achievements, experiences, work programs, and partnerships for effective implementation of the World Telecommunication Development Center. The working group sessions also help with solidifying and building new partnerships. And I know that each member state is better off after this conference. Can we imagine the new ideas, concepts, and plans that have been shared within these 3 days? This can never be quantified. Thank you, delegates, for your energetic and thought-provoking participation. On behalf of the telecoms regulator, the National Communications Authority, I also wish to thank you for your visit to our facilities, the Type Approval Laboratories, the Telecom Set, and the Central Monitoring Center. Our doors are always open to you to share our experiences. Let us endeavor to begin working towards the implementation of our regional initiatives by strengthening human and institutional capacity and harmonizing our policy and regulatory frameworks to integrate the African telecommunication and ICT markets. In addition to this, it's important we build confidence and security in the use of telecommunications and ICTs as the region moves towards digital inclusion and fostering innovation in Africa. Let me end on the words of Mr. Brahima Sanu from the opening ceremony when he said, "We have a duty to put a human face to ICT for empowerment and the work hand in hand." So on that note, I want to thank you all. Thank you for working with me and cooperating, bringing us to this point. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Let the applause go until he sits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It affects me personally, you know. So we are at a stage where this forum has to close. But what has not been told is that this conference was planned, organized, and delivered, and we are all in a good mood at this time. And interesting enough and good enough, the person who chaired the planning and the organizing committee for this forum is to close this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, with a very round, big, round, huge, giant, and in French you say grand applause, let's welcome the Deputy Minister of Communications, Honorable George Nenyi Anda, to close this forum.
Thank you very much, Kwame. So, Chairman, Director General of the National Communications Authority, my good friend Andrew, Regional Director for ITU for Africa, members of ITU hearing present, Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber of Ghana, friends from the media, all protocol observed. Let me start by thanking Andrew for your very kind words to the team and for the expression of the level of confidence that you have in Ghana. I'm excited that you make significant reference to the monitoring platform, and I believe that our friends from the Telecoms Chamber would take keen interest in the interest that the Regional Director for Africa from the ITU has in our common monitoring platform. Ladies and gentlemen, all too soon, we've had to come to the close of 3 days of exciting Regional Development Forum. I'm excited and happy with the level of participation that has culminated into the quality report that I just read. Mr. Chairman, the opening ceremony, which was witnessed by the presence of the Honorable Minister of Communications and the Honorable Minister of Information, as well as the director for BTT, set the tone for this entire forum. The forum had various sessions, including the high-level roundtable on boosting digital economy development in Africa. And indeed, the breakthrough sessions also focused on the regional initiatives, which are building digital economies and fostering innovation in Africa, promotion of emerging broadband technologies, building trust and security in the use of telecommunications, information, and communication technology, strengthening human and institutional capacity building, management and monitoring of the radio frequency spectrum, and transition to digital broadcasting. The regional organization's perspectives were also shared with delegates. We have agreed as a region to pursue a common agenda, and in that light, I wish to urge all to provide support and share best practice with each other for Africa to have a stronger front. Mr. Chairman, for us in Ghana, we'll put together a working group made up of all stakeholders, the government, the regulator, the private sector, and most importantly, our friends from the academia, amongst others, to critically review the various projects and determine how to adapt and implement it as we continue on our Digital Ghana agenda and move towards the achievements of the SDGs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to use this platform to request for Ghana's support to the ITU Council. I believe that we've worked hard for it, and I believe that you can support us to get onto the council. And I believe that I can count on your support to get Ghana onto the ITU Council. Finally, I wish on my own behalf and behalf of the ministry and the minister, thank you for gracing this forum, and we appreciate your huge contributions. I pray for God's mercies to all of you as you travel back to your respective countries. And for those of you that are going to stay with us for the Monday and Tuesday sessions, we will continue to extend our love and hospitality towards you. To the local organizing committee and the advanced team of the ITU that came, I say well done. You have made Ghana and Africa proud. And between the ministry and the NCA, we will show our appreciation the right way. Thank you, and God bless you all. May I, at this time, formally bring ITU RDF 2018 to a close. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister, Ministry of Communications. So, as Minister said, formally closed, and for me, informally opened to lunch, which is our nice way of exiting out of this forum. We have lunch upstairs, and then, would there be a tour? Yes. You are in almost the central business area of Accra. The bars will be available for those who want to have the opportunity of sightseeing and shopping. And for those who stay over the weekends, there could be arrangements for you to have a good time in Accra. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is formally closed and we can now go for lunch. Thank you very much.